For a fighter pilot, the one-on-one dogfight is pretty much the pinnacle in terms of skill and speed and fun. In fact, it's where we as instructors and students really figured out who's good and who's okay in the airplane. It was always one against one. Now, this wasn't really the mission that we did in combat. When we were in combat over in Iraq or even in Afghanistan, we were mostly targeting insurgent pods, with bombs or with our surveillance systems. But we always talked about and trained going air to air. And so my question for you is, two F-18s fighting each other at 15,000 feet, both trying to turn to get the maximum turn on their opponent. One F-18 is at 312 knots. The other one is at 307 knots. All things being equal, which one will win? Today on EdTalks Live, we're going to talk about the most important number in your business. And much like flying an airplane, as you can imagine, the numbers are very important. EdTalks Live is next. All right, hey, welcome back, party people, to the most positive place in the planet for insanely implementable ideas. My name is Ed Rush, 5-time #1 best-selling author, your host for today's show, which is the most important number in your business. Now, on today's show, I started off by saying, hey, when there's two airplanes fighting against each other in simulated combat, by the way, when we're training with our airplanes, we are in simulated combat, not the real thing. We don't shoot real missiles at our buddies. It would be bad for morale. or good for morale, I guess, depending on who it was and where it was. But when we fight against each other, two airplanes flying against each other, all things being equal, one airplane is at 312 knots, the other airplane is at 307 knots. I said, which one will win? And the answer, surprisingly, is the slower airplane of those two right there. That's because in a perfectly clean F-18, no bombs, no missiles, no racks, the airplane turns a perfect turn at right around 307 knots. Not 305, not 310, not 312, not 302. So an airplane, perfectly loaded airplane at 307 knots will actually turn at a faster rate than the airplane flying at 312 knots. And over time, the 307 knot airplane will begin to gain an advantage. Think about that for a second. Those small little airspeed, those small little increments, the kind of discipline it takes to fly those airplanes at intense airspeeds and intense Gs. And I'm here to tell you that the same is true for your business. As a pilot, I love to look at the cockpit and to be able to see all the numbers kind of flashing at me so that I can analyze all the things that are happening inside of my airplane. Well, for you as a business owner, it's important to have the numbers in front of you so that you can see what's happening inside of your business. And on today's show, I'm going to share with you what I consider the single most important number in your business. And the answer to this is going to be wrought out of years, over 10 years, working one-on-one with business owners like you and finding out what's working now, what's working next, and what's going to keep working. But before I do that, make sure you jump into chat, tell us who you are, where you're from, what you do. Today's show is going to move pretty fast. I've got a lot to share in a short period of time. And so grab your notes and get ready to go. And I'm going to say in just a moment, I'm going to say hello to you. If you, by the way, if you're on YouTube, chat for you is right over here on the right-hand side. Jump in, tell us what's up today. And if you're on Facebook, chat is going to actually be below you, okay? So that's your stop. Please jump in and tell us who you are. We have an incredible community here, a growing community, and you want to make sure that you get plugged in because there's resources here that are that could be available for you. All right, so I want to say hello to a couple folks. What's up, Barry? It is smoky in California. Yesterday, the beautiful sunset, by the way, big red sunset. I went for a walk. I took my little baby on a walk on the beach last night, and man, the sun is red, and it is smoky, and I couldn't remember if it was smoky or smoky. So Barry reminded me that Smokey was actually the bear. I guess it's S-M-O-K-Y. Thank you, spell check. That's all I can say, man. I've written 5 books thanks to the little red squiggly lines. Wendell Bugs, good to see you as well. What's up, Mike? Toy? Jim? What's up, brother, man? Santa Rosa, it's always smoky this time of year in Santa Rosa. Jeez. I had a mastermind, Jim, in Napa 2 years ago, maybe it was 3 years ago, and one of my attendees was staying in Santa Rosa when the real bad fires came through. In the middle of the night, the fire alarm got out. They grabbed the stuff that they had and ran out and turned around from the parking lot and saw the hotel burning down. They were safe. Everything was fine. Insurance paid for all their things, but anyway. What's up, Nobby? 3A. That means I'm talking about it. Like, if you're in the United States and you can't get up for a 10 o'clock Pacific show, look at Nobby. He's still up. Maybe still up or just up. Who knows what that is. Hello, what's going on? Yeah. Hey, you know, the cool thing about this show, too, I love, is it's a negative world right now. I don't know if you've been reading the news lately. Gosh, if you read the news, it can start to really get you down. And I'm going to tell you, look, there's some great people out there who want to do great things, and they're watching this show right now, okay? So you need a good place like this, okay? Hey, what's up, Salik? Good to see you as well. Hello, Anita from hot Alabama. Roll Tide. Hey, Barry, what's going on, buddy? Good to see you as well. Hello, Steven. I am Groot. That is awesome, man. We just got done. My kids and I watched all of the, my wife and I and the kids watched all the Avengers movies. And I heard Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is coming out. What's up, Marianne? I guess that was 3 years ago. All right, so in a moment, I'm going to tell you, in just a minute, I know I've been teasing this for you. In just a minute, I'm going to tell you the most important number in your business. If you just joined us, my name's Ed Rush. This is EdTalks Live. I'm going to jump up on the whiteboard, and I'm going to show you what I consider to be the most important number in your business. But before I do that, I need to transition over to the other camera, and I need to grab my notes and head up to the whiteboard. And then we're going to start. And by the way, I'm going to leave time for your questions towards the end of the show as well. So let's do that. I'll see you on the board. Sometimes the camera change doesn't happen at the speed that I want it to. All right, so here we are on the whiteboard. Now, most important number in your business coming up in just a second. But before I do that, I want to tell you the story of a client that came into my office just recently. It was about 3 years ago, and she came in, and I'll tell you, sometimes when I do one-on-one work with business owners, and I tell people, look, you can come in with any state of preparedness. You can come in with an idea, or you can come in with stacks and stacks. And she was one of my folder people. If you ever do consulting, you know you have folder people, and folder people are those people who come in with like 7 manila folders. They're full of all the data and the information that they have, and they like have them all organized and ordered. I love folder people, okay? But they're very organized, and like I said, people can come in with nothing, but an idea, or they can come in with a lot of preparation. And man, she came in with a lot of preparation. She had a product. Fundamentally, she was giving advice to business owners. She was in the business, the bookkeeping business, but really what she was a CFO. And we turned her into a virtual CFO, and she came in, and she's like, Ed, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn to get new leads. I'm going to put this ad here and put this ad here. I'm going to put this ad here, and then I'm going to take people to one of these 3 different landing pages. One of the landing pages is going to offer a free book, and the next landing page is going to offer a webinar, and the next landing page is going to offer a place for them to sign up for my email list. And then they're going to get taken to a series of 4 videos, and then these people are going to get taken to this webinar, and these people are going to get taken to my weekly email list. I say, have you done any of this stuff? No. I'm going to do all this stuff, and then I'm going to create this product called the Virtual CFO, and then they're going to come and they're going to pay $2,000 for this product, and the first upsell is that they're going to buy this, and the second upsell is, and for real, it's taken like 30 minutes for her to explain this whole thing, which is great. Look, she's very prepared. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with this. She said the second upsell is going to be this, and the third upsell is going to be this, and then once they get that, they're going to get an invitation into my exclusive mastermind, which is $15,000 a year, and then from there, they're going to get to where I can be their virtual CFO on a yearly basis. They can pay me a retainer inside of their company. And by the time she was done, she was out of breath. And by the time she was done, I was out of breath. Okay, because it was like there was so much involved, and she hadn't created any of it yet. And I looked at her business. I thought, man, this is what you would describe as a mature, robust information marketing business. I mean, she had the landing pages, and she had the free offers, and she had the emails, and she had the funnels, and she had the products, and she had the upsells. And I'm telling you, there's nothing wrong with anything that she put out there, nothing wrong with any of it. It didn't exist, and she wanted to make it exist, but I just said, stop. I said, stop for a moment, just stop. Let me ask you a question. What's one way that's already worked for you to get new leads into your virtual CFO consultancy? And she said, well, the best way for me to get new leads is when I go out and speak. See, Ed, I can go out and speak at Rotary, or I can go out and speak at the Chamber of Commerce, and usually people come up to me afterwards and they're interested to work with me, and so then we begin a conversation. I said, great, so let me get this clear. You have one really great way in place right now to get new leads into your business. I have one really great way. I said, now, let me ask you this question. Can you give me one way, like what's the one way that new people come in to work with you as a virtual CFO? I just want one. Just give me the one. Give me the best one. She goes, whoa, that's pretty easy too. See, the people who come to see me speak, usually what I do is a virtual assessment with them. So tell me about this virtual assessment. She goes, well, what I do typically is people will get on a Zoom call with me, and I'll spend about I think it was Skype back then, but she said, I spend about an hour with them going through their numbers and showing them how when they hire me, they'll actually save money because I'm going to save them more money than they're currently spending. I said, so let me get this straight. You have one great way to get people into your virtual CFO work, and it's this assessment that people come in. How many people hire you out of this assessment? She said, about 30% of the people. I said, that's amazing. That's amazing. So let me get this straight. You have one great way to get leads, and you have one great way to get new customers, and 30% of the people that do this assessment with you sign up to be virtual CFO customers. Well, let me just give you my first piece of advice, which is let's spend some time making this better. Let's spend some time getting you some more talks, because clearly that's an incredible conversion mechanism. And let's spend some time getting you more assessments, because the fact is the most important number in your business is the number one. Now, I've heard teachers and instructors out there who teach marketing who have said the most dangerous number in business is the number one. And I would submit to you that the most dangerous number in a mature, fully grown business might be the number one, but the most important number in a growing business that's really trying to make an impact in the world and make a lot of money is the number one. You need one great way to get leads. You need one great way to get those leads to become customers. You need one great delivery vehicle, whether it's consulting or coaching or advising or your products or your services or your speaking. You need one great way to get referrals. You need one great way to get your customers to become ongoing customers. You need one thing in your business, and that's the number one. And so today, I'm going to show you how to think about the number one, to focus on this one thing, the thing that will create more value and more revenue for you over the next few years. Before I do that, I want to welcome you. By the way, a whole bunch of you just joined us. I sent an email out to my list, so that's why a whole bunch of you just said, hey, what's up, Ed? Come on and join us and say hello in chat. Tell us who you are, where you're from, what you do. Groot from Long Beach. Marianne, thank you, Barry. So I had this, when I started this show, I bought like 20 new t-shirts because I said, man, I'm not gonna wear my normal black t-shirt all the time. Some of the time, but not all the time. All right, so welcome to the show. We're talking about the most important number in your business. My name's Ed Rush. Let's get rocking and rolling. So I want to take you back into what I consider to be a funnel. Now, when you hear people talk about funnels, a lot of times people think, when people are talking about funnels, a lot of times people are thinking this is an information marketing business, right? Where you're selling information, ideas, or strategies. And I'm going to give you an example in the information marketing business, but moving forward, this can work for anything. So for example, if you're a doctor, I work with a lot of doctors and dentists and chiropractors. For the most part, even though most of them want to be information marketers, for the most part, they get revenue through helping their patients, okay? This will work for you if you have a brick and mortar store where people come in, and heaven bless you if you do, okay? Now is not an easy time for brick and mortar stores, all right? So some of them are making it work, by the way. Some of them are thriving right now. It's just a big difference in how you look at it, all right? So a funnel looks like this. This is the way I typically look at a funnel, okay? There's actually two directions you see. Sometimes people make it like a ladder, and other times people make it look like it goes down, and I typically use this way that it goes down. Now, in a typical funnel, at the top, it's normally free. So most of the activity that happens at the top of a funnel is free activity. People coming to you, they don't typically pay you, they're exchanging information for you. And then much like, you go to Yelp and you look for a restaurant, or you go to Open Table, you look for a restaurant and it's like $1 sign, $2 signs, $3 signs, $4 signs. Like, if it's $1 sign, it's gonna be a bad burger and cold fries, okay? But if it's $4 signs, you got like a tablecloth, you have somebody who comes and puts your napkin on your lap. Do you ever have that happen to you? Like the first time someone does that, you're like, whoa. And then eventually you're like, place the napkin on my lap. Thank you, garçon. They bring the bottle of wine, and open it so gracefully at your cloth table. Would you like some foie gras, Mr. Rush? All right, so that's down here. Okay, so the expensive restaurant is down at the bottom, and then it's like this, right? So if you've been to Yelp, you see the dollar signs, or you've been to Open Table, you see the dollar signs. That's what a funnel looks like. So in a mature information marketing business, or actually in a mature business, as the funnel gets tighter down near the bottom, there's more money and there's usually less money at the top. This is when you're very wide, okay? And so at the top, very often what you're doing is casting out a wide net, but at the bottom, you're actually funneling down the ideal person who works for you, okay? Now, more times than not, as you also get down towards the bottom, the attention of the marketer or the business owner actually also goes up, okay? So for example, in 1 month, I'm meeting with my mastermind members. We're actually meeting in person. We're gonna be over in Denver, meeting in this beautiful hotel right in downtown Denver, right near the Rocky Mountains. And if you've been looking for a mastermind group or some sort of coaching group to get connected to, go to edrush.com/coaching. I have about 2 or 3 spots, I think, left, and I do expect those to sell out. So if you're interested in getting a little bit of one-on-one coaching, this is down here. Well, listen, I'm gonna be 2 days in Denver with my small mastermind group. We have no more typically than about 15 businesses in this room at any given time. So you get a lot of attention from me and also from the group. Well, look, somebody that just opts into my website earlier today is not gonna get 2 days with me, but somebody at the bottom of the funnel or somebody who's engaged at that level probably will, okay? This also, in my business, is where my private clients exist. So people who pay me upwards of $70,000 to work one-on-one with me to get answers for their business. This is typically down here. Now remember what I said, at the top of the funnel, you're casting a wide net, okay? So for example, I'm gonna show you in a moment, I do advertising on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. And when I'm advertising on those places, I'm trying to target my advertising, but I'm advertising in front of a lot of people, okay? So the typical person down here has a 6 or 7 figure business, or they're heading in that direction. Sometimes they're reinventors, they've been successful over here, but they want to move into another business. But for the most part, they're very successful people. Sometimes the people here are just starting out, okay? And so this is where you're casting a wide net. So for me, for example, some of the things that might happen up here is maybe some speaking that I do, right? Maybe there's a webinar. I've been on a lot of podcasts lately. Maybe there's an article that I write or a post on social media. Or maybe there's a video that I put up on YouTube, or maybe there's my live show, which is what you're on right now, actually, incidentally. You didn't pay money to come here to YouTube, although, you know what? There's a little button over there where you can donate money. I always love that. I've been giving all that money away. So far, I've given like $550 for those, like, you can do stickers or whatever. Every time somebody sends me one of those, I send it off to, there's this foundation that works with underprivileged kids up in Las Vegas. I think I sent them I don't remember, $500, $550 check last time from that. Okay, anyway, side point, onto a show like this, okay? So these are all different, a book, like people read my book and can opt in onto my website. Those are all examples of the free ways in which I'm promoting myself. Now, this isn't your list, this is my list, right? For example, if you're a doctor, yours might be different. I'm gonna give you an example of what that might be in just a second if you are in professional services like a doctor or attorney. Now, oftentimes there's this first purchase, which many times is a lower end purchase. Not all the time, by the way. Sometimes I have people, that go directly here. But a lot of times this is a lower end purchase. So for example, I'll do events that are around $97 to $297, right? I'll do events that are upwards of $2,000, really $19.97. Sometimes those are the first engagement points. I've got courses, online courses that are in the $997 range, okay? So these are all initial engagement points. Then I've also got the next step. I have some mentoring programs that start right around $5,000. See how the numbers are beginning to go up? And then of course I mentioned this is 18 to 70K here at the top. As the funnel goes down, the numbers get smaller, the value goes up. And I'll tell you, historically, about 70% of my income comes in right here at the bottom of the funnel. Whoa, there goes the pen. Dang, I don't know what the deal is with me and these pens today. Good thing every good fighter pilot's got a backup, all right? And maybe something like, check it out, maybe something like 70% of my activity is up here. Isn't that interesting? The majority of the activities here, actually this group, I spend less of my time overall with my coaching members and more of my time in the beginning of the funnel. Okay, now, let's say you are inside of professional services. Let's say you're a doctor or an attorney. What would this look like? What would this look like for you? Well, maybe at the top, I'm gonna get to the one thing in a second. At the top, you've got something like a Facebook funnel that leads people to a webinar online that leads people to a $297 one-on-one assessment with you where they begin to get their labs and start to get looked at by you, which leads people to a $5,000 package of 3 months of services, including their supplements. Now, if it sounds like, Ed, how did you just make that up? I have done that on behalf of more clients than I've run out of fingers and toes to count. I'm just here to tell you that little model that I just described to you absolutely works. And I'm gonna go a little bit deeper on that in just a second, but I wanted to give you that as an idea for a funnel. Now, this is a mature, robust business. Let's go back to the idea of one. Okay, I'm gonna erase this in just a second. Before I do that, I wanna jump into chat and say what's up. Okay, by the way, my name's Ed Rush. By the way, my name's Ed Rush. This is the most important number in your business. I'm gonna get to how to look at that in just a second. But in the meantime, make sure you tell us who you are, where you're from, what you do. Jump in the chat and say hello. That is what a funnel looks like. Now, let's break it down into activity, and then I'm gonna get into the one thing, and then I'm gonna take your questions. Where are we at on time? Okay, so maybe 10 minutes or so, open it up for questions and give you a chance to engage. Now, the way to look at your business in terms of what to build in terms of the activities actually is different than the funnel, and I'm gonna get to the one thing when I discuss this, okay? So it goes like this, LCD, R. This is what I call the six-pack. So grab a pen and write this down. I'm gonna move fairly quickly through this, but what the six-pack is L stands for leads, okay? A lead is nothing more than somebody in your business who has expressed interest but typically hasn't paid you. Okay, so for example, a person who buys my book, 21 Day Miracle. By the way, if you don't have 21 Day Miracle, let me put this underneath here. That's the website. Whoop, in my head, it's edrushbook.com. If you haven't gone there, go get the book. It's like 99 cents on Kindle. No brainer, okay? Make sure you read the footnotes. All right. Leads. I have a side story about the footnotes. I'll tell you later. Okay. One great way to get leads. I went back to leads. Leads are nothing more than somebody who's raised their hand and said they're interested in you. Maybe they went to your website and filled out a form. Maybe they called your office. Maybe they bought a book from you. Maybe they went onto Facebook and became a fan of your Facebook page. Maybe they engaged with a comment that you made over on LinkedIn. These are people who have expressed an interest in being connected to you, although they haven't bought from you yet, okay? Customers are really great, by the way, because customers become customers by paying you something, all right? So they bought supplements from your website, they bought some consulting from you, they paid for online training or course. That's when they became customers, okay? And so the next one, I'm gonna get to the one in a second and explain what I mean by the one. The next one is delivery, right? Every business needs a way to deliver the thing that you're wanting to deliver, whatever it is. If it's like a training, you have it online or offline or on Zoom. If it's events, people come to a hotel and sign up for your event. If they come into the office so that they can get tested inside of your office. And then of course, you need a way to get repeat customers. You need a way to get referrals. And you need a way to get reviews or testimonials. Okay, so that's what I call the six-pack. Now, when it comes to your business, every single business needs one tested, proven, successful way to do each one of these things. If you're looking and you're just starting out, start right here. Your business needs one great way to get new leads. Your business needs one great way to get new customers. And your business needs one great way to deliver what those customers bought from you. Now, let me just make this as clear as I can, because what I'm about to say is super important. As business owners, and by the way, some of this is my fault. Okay, so as business owners, sometimes we get like shiny new object syndrome. You know what I mean? Like, let me explain how sometimes this is my fault. So I had Marquetta Breslin on the show about a month and a half ago, and we were talking about using Instagram. Well, she's brilliant on Instagram. She's like my go-to person when it comes to Instagram. But you know what? Maybe you don't need to use Instagram. Maybe the one place for you to focus in your business is on your speaking, so that you can better connect with your market using speaking events. And they're going to come back here pretty soon, by the way. Using speaking events that you can generate leads so that they'll come into your practice. But you saw the thing with Marquetta and I, you're like, man, I need to get on Instagram. Well, maybe you don't. And I didn't say on the show you did. We were just giving you strategies on Instagram. About 2 months ago, I did an interview with Yakov Smart. Some of you remember, Yakov talked about LinkedIn. One of the smartest guys I know about on LinkedIn. I mean, like, smart. Yakov, you might have seen that and been like, man, now I got to get on LinkedIn, you know? I did an interview about a month ago with Jonathan Kronstadt, who's in charge at Kajabi. Kajabi is a membership site platform and a CRM platform that helps you generate new leads and deliver on the back end for those. And sometimes you're like, oh man, I need to get like Kajabi. And you know what? Maybe you do need to do Instagram. Maybe you do need to do LinkedIn, and maybe you do need to do Kajabi. I mean, I do all of those things. But what you really need to start with is one proven, tested, successful way to get new leads. One proven, tested, successful way to get new customers. One proven, tested, successful way to deliver. And here's where the mindset starts with, okay? This is why thinking like this is so important. I'm going to give you an example. I'm going to give you actually 3 different business examples, okay? Then I'm going to come back and I'm going to take questions. And by the way, for those who just joined us, my name is Ed Rush. This is the most important number in your business. And jump in and say hello and chat. What's up, Jeff? Remote P. Yeah, I'd love it. The 6-pack. What's up, man? Radical calling. I love it. Don't we all? I have a 21-day and all the versions. Man, I love that. Very cool. All right, so even the audio version. By the way, we're on the second round of the audio version. If you haven't, please put a review on the audiobook, because I definitely need some more of those. Okay, so now let me tell you about why this is so important to find the one. And for those of you who just joined us, the most important number in your business is 1. One great way to get leads, one great way to get customers, one great way to deliver on those customers. Okay, so now let's take a business that does consulting. So there are almost 100 new graduates from the Top Gun Consultant course that I just wrapped up a week in. Top Gun Consultant with a graduation certificate. You raise your hand and tell me who you are in chat, because we had an amazing graduation 2 weeks ago on August 28th. I'll never forget it, okay? Let's say you are a consultant. Let's talk about some ways that you can generate leads. As a consultant, if I was starting from scratch right now, no background, no experience, nothing, this is what I would do, okay? I would, for leads, I would go speak for free. You could walk on top, from here to Maine, on top of business organizations that meet every single month in your city to talk about business. And you know what those people need? They need speakers to come in and be interesting. I'm talking about Chamber of Commerce. I'm talking about Rotary. I'm talking about the Lions Club. I'm talking about the local marketing groups that you can see on, you ever go to the website meetup.com? You go to Meetup, see all those local marketing, all those people, man, they are tired of listening to the person who founded that group. They would love for you to come in and share your ideas and your expertise, okay? This is what I would do. I would go in and speak. Now, I wouldn't sell anything at the end of my talk. I would simply communicate in such a way that people come up after me afterwards and ask some questions, and then I would get into some discussions. So maybe I would do a one-on-one call. I say, hey, Joe, listen, I'm interested in talking to you about more how I can help you in your business. Why don't we jump on the phone this week? We can talk potentially about putting a deal together where I can come in and help you. I'm going to do these one-on-one calls And then for me, the delivery is going to be one-on-one again. I'm going to be working with them over Zoom, over the phone, and maybe in person to help them build their team, or to help them communicate more effectively, or to help them be more persuasive, or to help them connect better in their business, or with their spouse, or with their kids, or whatever it is that I consult on. So my great way as a consultant, by the way, people always ask me, like, if you had no money, no list, and you were just starting out, what would you? I'm like, right here, man. I'm for real. Like, I would probably go right now and start even on Zoom. All these people are still meeting. They're jumping on Zoom. I'd jump on. I would tell people, here's how you write a book. Here's how you publish a book. Of the 100 people that were watching, I would probably get about 50 leads. Of the 50 leads, I'd get about 10 really good ones. Out of the 10 really good ones, I'd get about 5 people to pay me $5,000 or 7 or 8 or whatever it was to help them write a book. And next thing you know, I got 5 people at $7,000, $35,000 from scratch, nothing more than a speaking event. That's the way that I would do it. You're like, Ed, but you don't understand. Ed, you don't understand. You don't know me. I've never done this before. And I'm like, I didn't do it before until I did it, but then I did it, and now I know it, okay? So all you need to do is get a little kick in the butt and go do it. Just go do it. I'm telling you, I didn't do it. It was 2012. My partners and I were trying to start a new business, marketing to attorneys. What would it be like if we went and spoke at bar associations? I'm like, I don't even know how to get into a bar association. Why don't we just start to call? We started calling bar associations. We're like, hey, do you want us to come in and speak? The bar associations are like, nope. They didn't say no. They didn't say no, because nobody ever says no. They're like, oh, well, let's check our schedule. Wow, we're booked. That's what we typically do. And so you know what we did? We wrote a book. We wrote a book called How to Turn Clicks into Clients. And we sent the book out to a bunch of bar associations. And then I called them back. And I said, hey, my name's Ed Rush. I didn't start with hey, by the way. I said, hey. I don't know why in my personification of this story, I always have to start with hey. Because I didn't pick up the phone and be like, hey. But it's the way I tell it. So I pick up the phone. So I pick up the phone, I'm like, hey, my name is Ed Rush. I don't know why I think that's so funny. My name is Ed Rush. I'm the #1 best-selling author of the book, How to Turn Clicks into Clients. We're on a book tour. As a part of our book tour, we're on a speaking tour, and I was wondering if you want us to come in and speak. And they're like, wow, we really would want you to come in and speak. And 97% of the people that I actually talked to on the phone brought us in to speak. In 2011, we did one talk the entire year to bar associations. That's because one of my partners knew the guy that ran the bar association up in Seattle. In 2012, we had 48 talks. We had 48 talks because we had a book and a great script. We went in and spoke, and we launched a 7-figure business. The business was 7 figures the next year. We launched a 7-figure business based on one-on-one calls out of speaking, delivering internet services. Okay? I didn't know what I was doing at the time. We wrote it, I did. I mean, I knew how to speak and stuff, but we wrote a talk based on what was important for an attorney to know, and next thing you know, we've got business. So this is a one-way model, right? You've got one great way to get new leads. You've got one great way to get new customers, and you've got one great way to deliver. Your job is to figure out what that thing is. And then what happens from this is you begin to blossom out, okay? So for example, a mature business isn't gonna have one and only one way to get leads, right? But you're gonna have maybe 7 or 8. You're gonna have one good one. You're gonna have one that really, really, really works. So now I'm like, you know what? Now that I've done this, why don't we build a website? Why don't we start going to national events and marketing directly to the bar associations? Why don't we go and start running ads in front of attorneys and seeing if that works? Let's see if we can do some direct mail. These are all different ways now that I've found one that really works. Instead of trying 10, I'm gonna really get one to work really, really well. Okay, so there's your one example in the consulting business. But many of you just took Top Gun consulting with me. You're like, yeah, Ed, I got it because you taught me that stuff. So what if I have a product? Like, what if you have a product like some of you who are in Top Gun Consultant? By the way, if you're not, the website's below, edrush.com/topgun. If you haven't not taken this course, I'm going to tell you. First of all, it's guaranteed. Second, it'll blow your mind. It'll blow your mind when you start getting into it, and it'll change your life, okay? And a lot of my Top Gunners are in here. I'm going to say hello to you in chat, by the way. Right now, as a matter of fact, what's up? Rob Jones, my man, good to see you. Top Gun, Anita's, you watch her, man, I'm telling you. You watch her. She's going to change the world soon. Graduate, I love it. You're my grads. Love you and I like you. All right, so let's talk about if you have a product. online product, let's say it's $500 product, and you're like, all right, what's one great way for me to get new leads? What's a great way to get new customers? What's a great way to deliver my online product? Let's start with Instagram. You know what? Some of the most success I've had recently, check this out. I'm going to show you some numbers. I'm going to show you more than one number in a show about one number. Here's my Instagram. So you can see this is a recent, I think I did this back in June. This is a recent look at $100 that I spent on Instagram. So you look at the top, right? Top left, the bottom of the result, of the overall results. Let's just look at that. So I got 1,208 new email leads. This reached 74,000 people, over 91,000 impressions. It cost me 8 cents per email, and I spent $100, which, by the way, is ridiculously good. Right now, I think on Facebook, I'm spending about $3.50 to get a new email lead, okay? So this is very, very good results. Now, full transparency first, the second column, the 908, those are international, so I'm getting leads everywhere. The top column, those 290, that is United States only. So it gives you an idea, a little more expensive to market in the United States, but not by much. Okay, so there's an example of leads, and some of the best leads right now I'm getting in through Instagram. Just simple ads, free book ads on Instagram. I'm gonna show you some of the pages that I use in a second, okay? And the best way I know right now to get people to sign up for a product are to do Zoom training sessions that are free, that at the end of the Zoom training session, somebody signs up to work with you, okay? And by the way, I've got a system. I have a system for using Zoom to get new leads, and I have a system for using Zoom to convert new leads, and I've got all the emails written, and I'm thinking about doing a little mini course. It's not gonna be a long course like Top Gun. It's gonna be a mini course, like a week. I'm thinking about doing a course called Zoom Selling System. If you're interested in that, let me know. It's not gonna be, Top Gun's a couple $1,000. It's gonna be like $300 to $500 range, okay? It's not gonna be super, super expensive, but I've got it all down, and I got all the emails and stuff written for you, so I thought, man, I could teach you how to sell on Zoom. Side note, if that interests you, let me know. Okay, and deliver for me, I use Kajabi, which is just an online membership platform where when people go buy, they automatically get access to the membership site, and it's easy, okay? So one great way, I could put an ad on Instagram. Let me show you where I take people. One great way to get new customers, I can put those people into a Zoom meeting and offer my product at the end. And one great way to deliver is my Kajabi. It's a great, simple funnel, right? You build this in a couple days, you're done, set it and forget it. Next thing you know, you got people coming in and you're making money. See, this stuff's not hard. You gotta try a couple different ways to market it. Maybe you gotta test and track how you're communicating, but it's not as difficult as it seems sometimes. Okay, let's say you're a doctor. I'm not a doctor. I don't play one on TV, but I do have a lot of clients of mine who are doctors. Let's say you're a doctor. Okay, so let's talk about one great way to get leads, customers, to deliver for my patients, okay? One of the most successful ways my doctors in the last 2 to 3 years have been generating new interest from patients is to run local ads geographically centered around their practice, maybe 10 miles or so around, okay? And bring people, ads on Facebook, okay? That bring people to a webinar. And typically the webinar, my doctors will do the webinar, or they'll do a live event. Like every 2 weeks or so, they'll bring like 30 people in, buy them, put out some snacks and talk for an hour and 15 minutes, okay? And so it's Facebook to a webinar or Facebook to a one-on-one, and either one of those, the presentation is usually the same. It's about an hour to an hour and 15 minutes. I usually help my doctors write the whole thing. And then it's designed to get someone to sign up for an initial assessment. And the initial assessment is usually $297. That brings them typically to about a $5,000 package that lasts over 3 months. And then the delivery is a series of office visits or televisits, okay? And with my doctor clients, a lot of times those office or televisits aren't even with them. It's with members of their team, like a nutritionist. That's beyond the scope of our discussion, okay? One great way to get new leads, one great way to get new customers, one great way to deliver, okay? So, what did my doctors start to do? Well, they were like, okay, let's run some ads in this local area. And all of a sudden they were getting successful at targeting those ads. So I said, hey, let's try it with diabetes. Actually, they did. I think my first client I said, hey, let's try it with diabetes. Just run ads specifically targeting local areas. People who are diabetic want to come to a meeting. Next thing you know, they get more customers. Okay? I say, hey, let's start with some women's issues or some men's issues. Next thing you know, I mean, for real, one of my clients, she was working in an emergency room as a urologist. She didn't particularly like her job. She didn't particularly like the life that her job was leading to. She didn't want our emergency room. She worked in a big hospital chain. She came out and she said, you know what? I want to work with women to help them with their incontinence. So she bought a whole bunch of gear. She got into private practice, and she started working with women in their women's area. Okay, and one of the women came in and said, you know, I've had such great success with you. Do you think you can help my husband? And she said, well, tell me about your husband. And she's like, well, my husband has he has some problems with erectile dysfunction. I was not planning on this show into even using those words. We have to delete this part out, okay? So the husband comes in. She treats the husband. The husband's like, everything's working all of a sudden. The husband starts telling all the husband's friends. The next thing you know, my client who started out helping women is now like the number one men's health doctor in her area in Orlando. And look, it wasn't part of the plan, but she's doing really well. She's got more than one way now to convert new customers and leads, but it all simply started with one, okay? So, big picture, takeaway for today. Your job is first to look at your current business and figure out what is the number one way you get new customers. What is the number one way that you get new leads, and expand from there. I'm gonna move over here quickly to the other camera, and I'm going to show you a couple of examples online, and then I'm going to take your questions, and then we're going to wrap it up. All right? So, throw your questions in the chat, by the way. Oh, yeah, that's right. You did receive the Maverick Award. Top Gun, back in the day. Got it, Barry. Thank you. I have all the emails. I have all my landing pages to show you how I do all my Zoom meetings. And then I have the whole setup on what emails to send and when and everything. And I was just thinking about it. I'm like, I should probably just do that because I know how to do it really well. All right, so let me give you a couple of examples of some things that I'm doing online now. And then I'm going to open it up for your questions, okay? So on the screen, you can see this page. You're welcome to go to, by the way. This page is edrush.com/freebook. All right, I know it says something different at the top here, but just because it redirects. Okay, so if you go to edrush.com/freebook, it's going to take you to a place where you can download the new Top Gun Consultant book. All right, so this is a lead page. See this link that says set your name and your email? Remember I was telling you about those numbers over on Instagram? In fact, I'll show them to you again real quick. These numbers that I showed you, we were getting 8 sent email leads. This isn't, it's a different book, but it's the exact same page, exact same setup here. Book on the left, copy on the right, little button that pops up right there. Very simple page. You can have your web people create it. You can email me and I can introduce you to my web people who created this for me. You can also create this out of a system like ClickFunnels or something like Lead Pages, okay? So very, very simple page. Nice way to get leads. You can use this off of social media. And this page will convert anywhere from 20 to 40, 50%, depending on where the traffic's coming from, okay? Now, here's another page, and a lot of you have seen this. You've seen the Top Gun Consultant page, right? Where it talks about our latest course, Top Gun Consultant. Well, this fundamentally was a page, I told you we had almost 100 people sign up for Top Gun Consultant. Okay, that would be an example of a great place to get new customers, and I still get new customers from there, and fundamentally it works because the system works. It's a well-written sales letter and everything. Okay, so those are 2 ways to do that. Now, what I'm having my team do right now is increase our ability to spend on advertising to get people to that landing page, putting them into an email sequence to get them to the customer page, and then moving them into a further conversation to one of my higher programs. Okay, that's what I mean about starting with one great way to do something, go to the one great way to do this, okay, and then expand it from there. All right, so a little bit of a wrap up for today, and then again, I'm gonna jump in and take your questions on anything that I covered today. I thought it would be fun to just go through that because, you know, like I said, when people come, and by the way, if you just joined us, I should just say this. My name's Ed Rush. This is the most important number in your business. And if you'll remember, all the way back from the beginning, the most important number in your business was the number 1. A lot of business owners who come to me have big plans, big schemes, big ideas, and I love big plans, schemes, and ideas. Don't get me wrong. Usually when people leave with me, they leave focused on 1 or 2 main areas where most of their revenue comes in. Most business owners who come and work with me have about 100 things they're doing and maybe another 100 things they feel guilty about not doing. And when they leave typically with 2 to 4 things that are their main area of focus. That's because the first step in growing a great business is to find one great way to get people interested and find one great way to get people to pay you. Find one great way to get people to pay you. And I will tell you, the indication for you, for the most part, is almost always, where have they paid you before? Like if you're a person that does book consulting, you got paid $5 or $6 or $7 or $10 or $15 or $20,000 to help people write books. And you're like, yeah, but Ed, I want to do an online product. I say, look, you go sell as many of those 20,000 things as you can, then create the product, right? Because if you got one way to be successful at something, expand on that. Make the money while you can. You know, if it's coming in, don't go someplace else. One of the biggest mistakes I made in my business, and I did this far too many times to count, is just when I got something going, just when I got some momentum, just when I got some revenue coming in, I'm like, on to the next thing. Okay, don't do that. Focus in on the area that's grow and expand that, then start adding legs to it. These are the other things, okay? You don't want 20 lead sources yet. You want one great lead source. Then expand out to 20, okay? And you don't want to try 50 at a time. You want to get 1 or 2 tested and tracked and then go to the next one, because the most important number in your business is the number 1. Focus on that and you'll be successful. All right, so hablo un poquito de español, but I can't do the whole show in Spanish. I can only do parts of it in Spanish. Thank you, though. Barry said, is the Top Gun book just a revision of the original book you wrote back in the day? So I was looking, Barry, for, you can't tell anybody this. I was looking for, he's talking about this page over here. So little backstory. If you look on Amazon to my author, wrong button. To my author page, you will see one of the 5 books that I was a best-selling author for. There we go. Is the book that I have in front of me, which is Top Gun Consulting. You'll notice it's not one of the 4 books that's on there, and there's actually a reason for that. I'm taking you way behind the scenes right now. I wrote this book back in 2012, 2013 with Mike. It's a book. It's basically interviews, and I wasn't thrilled with the. Later on, it worked fine for us at the time. I wasn't thrilled with how it was edited or laid out, so I actually pulled it off my Amazon page. But then this year, Barry, when I was getting ready to launch, Top Gun, I actually took this and I re-edited it. Now, some of the core content is the same that's inside, but I re-edited the introduction and the end. And if you look, a lot of what was written in the Top Gun sales letter actually shows up in this book as well now. So I included a lot of the stuff that I wrote in that letter, because there's actually a lot of teaching inside that letter as well. So my guess, Barry, is it's probably 30% new content or upgraded content, and 70% of it was old, the older content that was reformatted, if that makes sense. So it's not the same book, and it doesn't even read as the same book, but it's reformatted from the old stuff. Because I was trying to figure out what should I use. You know, a couple months ago when I was launching this product, I was trying to figure out what should I use as an opt-in, and then I realized I already had this as an opt-in, so it's there. All right, so that answers that question. And by the way, you need to be careful if you do have a book on Amazon. If you're on Kindle Unlimited, you do need to be careful about giving it away for free, because technically that's against your agreement with Kindle Unlimited. So that book's not in there. All right. I think that's the end of our questions. Bruce says, pick the one best way and then expand it. What's up, Bruce? It's good to see you, man. I miss hearing your voice, Bruce. I don't get to talk to nor'easters as much as I used to. All right, so I hope you're doing well, buddy. Okay, so I'm gonna wrap up today by just saying you can do this. Go find one way and expand it. Pick an area that you are like, you know what, Ed, I already know I can get customers this way. I already know I can get leads this way, and then go out and crush it. Don't forget, we are live Tuesdays and Thursdays, 10 o'clock Pacific, 1 o'clock Eastern. Be sure to come join us in the most positive place on the planet. I got some interviews coming up that are gonna blow your mind. And don't forget, I love you, and I like you. EdTalks Live is out.